I knew exactly what they thought of me the moment I sat down at the table. It wasn't said out loud, but it lived in the way his mother's eyes paused on my worn shoes, the way his father glanced at my hands as if checking for signs of usefulness. The dining room was immaculate, polished wood, soft lighting, the kind of space designed to impress without trying too hard. I didn't belong there. At least, that's what they assumed. Hey, if you enjoy my content, please subscribe and hit the bell. Your support means everything and helps me keep creating. Thank you so much. I played my role carefully. I thanked them too much. I spoke softly. I laughed at things that weren't funny. When his mother asked what I did for work, I gave a vague answer. When his father asked about my family, I shrugged and kept it simple. No details. No corrections. I let the silence fill in the gaps they wanted to see. They filled those gaps quickly. His mother tilted her head with a sympathetic smile, the kind reserved for people who need guidance. His father offered unsolicited advice about working your way up and learning discipline early. They spoke about investments, properties, and connections as if reciting a resume meant to intimidate me. I nodded along, pretending it was all new, all impressive. My boyfriend shifted uncomfortably beside me. I could feel it. He knew this wasn't the full picture, but we had agreed on one thing before walking in. I would let them show me who they were. No interruptions. No defenses. Just observation. Dinner progressed with quiet judgments disguised as politeness. His mother commented on how simple my tastes must be. His father joked about how people like me should be grateful for opportunities. They weren't cruel. That would have required intention. They were worse. They were dismissive. I felt no anger, just clarity. This wasn't about me fitting in. It was about them needing to feel superior, and I let them. Every assumption they made, every conclusion they jumped to, I accepted with a small smile and lowered eyes. By dessert, they were comfortable, too comfortable. They had decided who I was, harmless, unimpressive, easy to place beneath them. The tension in the room dissolved because they believed they had control. That was the moment I realized the reveal wouldn't need effort. It wouldn't need drama. All it would take was one sentence at the right time. And as the plates were cleared and his father leaned back, satisfied, I understood something important. They thought this dinner was an evaluation. They had no idea they had already failed it. Once they decided I was beneath them, the atmosphere shifted. The questions became casual, almost lazy. His mother stopped filtering her advice and began offering it freely, as if correcting a child. She spoke about how important it was to marry into stability, how love alone was rarely enough, how some people simply weren't raised to understand ambition. She never looked directly at me when she said it. She didn't need to. His father grew bolder. He spoke about their family name, the legacy they had built, the expectations they had for their son. Each sentence carried an unspoken warning. I listened, nodding, letting the weight of his assumptions hang in the air. My boyfriend stayed quiet, jaw tight, hands clenched under the table. I could feel his restraint. He wanted to step in, to defend me, but this was exactly what I needed him not to do. They talked about money openly now, about properties they owned, about trips they took without thinking twice. His mother laughed about how people who struggled financially always made poor choices, as if hardship were a character flaw rather than circumstance. She asked if I had ever traveled abroad. I shook my head gently. She smiled, satisfied, and said someday I might understand what comfort really felt like. Inside, I felt nothing but calm. Years of navigating rooms like this had taught me patience. Power doesn't announce itself. It waits. I watched how they spoke to the staff clearing dishes. I watched how they interrupted each other. I watched how quickly respect disappeared when they believed someone had no leverage. Every word confirmed what I already suspected. Then his father turned the conversation toward the future. He spoke about prenuptial agreements, about protecting assets, about how love should never cloud judgment. He framed it as advice, but it was a boundary, a reminder that no matter how long I stayed, I would always be considered an outsider, someone to be managed. My boyfriend finally spoke, voice tight, saying that maybe assumptions weren't fair. His mother waved him off gently, placing a hand on his arm. She said she was only being realistic, that as parents, it was their duty to be cautious. She looked at me then, really looked at me, and asked if I understood. I smiled and said yes, that I appreciated their concern, that I believed honesty was important. That word changed the room. Honesty. I reached into my bag, slowly, deliberately, not to shock, not to embarrass, but to end the performance. I placed my phone on the table, screen facing up, and unlocked it. There was no rush. The silence stretched. They watched, curious now, alert. I told them there was something I should clarify, that I hadn't lied at dinner. I had simply chosen not to explain. I said my work was private, not unimpressive. I said my family situation was complex, not simple. I said my life was stable in ways they hadn't considered. His father frowned. His mother's smile stiffened. I showed them a single email, then another. Documents, names, figures, the kind of information they recognized instantly. Board affiliations, asset summaries, holdings they had bragged about casually, now appearing as footnotes in a much larger picture. The shift was immediate. His mother's hand froze mid-gesture. His father leaned forward, rereading as if repetition might change the meaning. The authority drained from their posture. The room felt smaller, tighter. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't explain further than necessary. I simply said I preferred not to lead with wealth, that I valued character more than status, and that tonight had been enlightening. My boyfriend exhaled sharply, the tension leaving his body all at once. He finally looked at his parents, not as a son seeking approval, but as an equal. They began to speak at the same time. Clarifications, apologies masked as misunderstandings, compliments that felt rushed, awkward, out of place. I stopped them gently. I told them the reveal wasn't about proving myself. It was about understanding theirs. And now I understood perfectly. The rest of the evening passed in a strange, careful quiet. His parents spoke differently now, slower, softer. Each sentence weighed, each compliment forced. They offered dessert again, offered wine, offered warmth that felt rehearsed. It didn't matter. Once respect arrives late, it never feels real. I thanked them for dinner and stood. No speeches, no victory lap, just closure. My boyfriend squeezed my hand as we walked out, and for the first time that night, I felt seen without having to perform. In the car, he apologized for them. I told him he didn't need to. Their behavior wasn't his responsibility. What mattered was what he had witnessed, what he chose to do with it. Over the following weeks, his parents tried to reset the narrative. Invitations arrived. Messages grew friendly. They spoke as if we had always been on equal footing. I never corrected them. I didn't need to. The power shift had already happened. I learned something valuable that night. People don't reveal their character when they think you're impressive. They reveal it when they think you're insignificant.